Hey everybody, what's going on? So this is going to be LinkedIn Messages templates part 2, and essentially we're going to go into all the templates that are going to be unique for specifically LinkedIn, and there is going to be some variance from the email templates that I showed you before, especially when it comes to cold email. So again, this is going to be specifically for LinkedIn. Now, the first one we're going to cover is second degree connection introductions, okay? And this is when you are essentially getting someone else you know to make an introduction for you. So here is essentially how you are going to ask for an introduction, right? So you got you over here on the left side, and you want to talk to this person who is a second degree connection. That means that there's somebody in the middle that you need to ask to make an introduction for you. So if you got a friend working at Google and that person happens to know the director of marketing at Google, then you want to ask your friend to make an introduction, right? So this has been done in history for a long time, but how are you going to do this on LinkedIn? And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Here's a couple rules you want to have when it comes to this introduction template. You don't want to appear like a spammer, and you want to position yourself as someone who offers true value to the first degree connection as well as the second degree connection. So the first degree connection, right, the person that you know, should feel good about making that introduction. If you're asking this person and they don't feel good about it, then you probably shouldn't be asking, because it becomes more of a favor, and you don't want to be indebted to so many people. What you want to do is you want to benefit both sides by providing value to both people. And how you're going to do that is that people feel good when they make introductions, especially if the person they're making the introduction to, like, they hit it off and, everyone wins. Because let's say in this situation, if you're someone of value and the second degree connection is always looking for ways to improve their business, if the first degree connection brokers the deal between you and the second degree, then he wins, or he or she wins, because the second degree connection is going to be like, thank you, first degree connection, for connecting me with this person because it's helping me so much. And then you win because you get to talk to this guy. So you always want to position it so that you are benefiting both people, right? You do not want to owe favors to everybody. Now, here is how the template is going to work, right? So you say, hey, first degree connection, their first name. Then you insert some kind of statement about some context of how you met or how you know each other and what you're asking for. Then you make a reference to who you want to be introduced to and explain why you're asking. And then you ask the question and make it as easy as possible for them to say yes, thanks, your name. So an example is, hey, John, it was great connecting with you again at InfluenceCon last weekend. Happy to hear your team just raised another $5 million. And like we just talked about, you mentioned that it might make sense for me to connect with Sarah over at Kingdom Ventures to see if I may be able to help her out with her influencer marketing campaigns. I'm sure you have a lot on your plate right now, so I went ahead and attached a quick message below to make the introduction as easy as possible. With that said, would you be able to make the introduction for me here? But if not, that's totally fine. And so what would happen is, in this situation, let's say you met somebody at a conference and they said that they want to connect you with another person named Sarah at Kingdom Ventures. Well, you would send John this message and remind him and give him context of how you met, and then go for the ask and say, like, hey, like you said before, you said you would introduce me to Sarah at Kingdom Ventures. And what you can also do is that in the bottom of this introduction template, you can actually write your own introduction and pretend you are John, and it's a quick message that John can send over to Sarah so he doesn't have to write it himself. So I'll go ahead and let you write that yourself in terms of how you want to do it, but this is essentially how you would ask for that connection. And when you go over to LinkedIn, right? So let's say I'm trying to reach out to somebody at Lyft, and what would happen is, let's say I want to reach out to this person, Bridget, right? And I find that Bridget has 4 connections in common. So let's say I know this person, Karen. I'll message Karen. I'll say, hey, Karen, we knew each other in high school, blah, blah, blah. And, I want to connect with Bridget over at who's the operations lead. And I want to see if you can make that introduction. If you can, great. If you can't, that's totally fine, right? So that's pretty much how you would do it. And basically, you just want to look on LinkedIn and look through the filters and see, okay, like, who is it that I want to connect with? And then if you have any connections in common, click that, and you'll see all the connections in common, and you can pick the person that you want to message so that they can make you the introduction. So that's pretty much how you want to, do the introduction. And again, if you don't have to write this part where I'm sure you have a lot on your plate, so I attach a quick message. So if you want to write your own message and pretend to be that person so they can copy and paste it and send it to the person that you want to connect with, that's fine. But if you don't want to put this, that's also fine. Just omit it and say, like, hey, can you make the introduction? And hopefully that if they like you, then they will make that introduction for you. And so with that said, that's pretty much how you're going to leverage LinkedIn to get your connections to make you introductions.